Hi, Norma. Welcome once again to our monthly webinar at Enigma. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you, and it's lovely to be here. I love to be here.
That's awesome. So, obviously, this month it's the festive period, the holidays. And what we'd like to touch on is, the recruitment and retentions, easing recruitment and retention stress during the festive period.
Mm.
So what we'd like to discuss today is, talking about what are the pressures on owners and managers in the care sector during this festive season? What have you seen or heard during this period?
Yeah, it's the usual things with staffing and obviously sickness, absence, recruitment, the same sort of things, but it's added to because we have the weather, we have increased activities in the homes to do more risk assessments if you've got children's choirs coming in, more risk assessments for if it's icy and you need to make sure you've got your grit ready and stuff like that. So it does actually intensify everything a manager normally does, because as well as that, it's emotional for the person who is the manager or the provider,
Mhm.
as they've got the family stuff as well as the work stuff to do. And it can really have a massive impact on their well-being and how they enjoy their time of year as well, because obviously they want to see the residents have a good time and the
Mhm.
staff and the family. So they're pulled in every way. So it does have a massive impact at this time of year.
How do you feel we, as people who are trying to help everyone in the care sector, I mean, we're doing recruitment retentions, you're, with supporting managers, how do you feel they can relieve some of this stress during this period?
To ensure you've got a contingency plan, make sure that you know if somebody's going, somebody's off sick, where you're going to get your staff from that's going to replace that staff member, and things they can do in the meantime while you're waiting for somebody to come in. So if you've got 4 staff and you need 5, make sure there's things that can happen that while that fifth one's not there until one comes into onto the shift, and then that way the staff, the residents are not going to be missing out. They're not going to have altered care, and just to take the pressure off is to have somebody like yourselves in the background that can supply staff, that can be there at moment's notice, and will supply good trained staff that can hit the
Mhm.
ground running, basically, because the last thing you need on Christmas is somebody that I haven't done it before, or I don't know, I've not been trained in that. So that's the caliber of staff, and the actually what they know, what they want, and what they can do is important. Just get there and fit in with that team and get on with it.
Exactly. So that's how we feel at Enigma. The way we can support, the care sector is by being there on the back end, supporting them with providing, the
Yeah.
care staff and the support workers so that there is a contingency plan in place. So if there's somebody not able to work, like you said, we can get the staff there,
Yeah.
as soon as possible and just be that buffer and support to them. And, it's a free service. Enigma's offering a free service. And speaking of that, Norma, why don't you explain a little bit about your services? What do you provide? How does it support the care sector?
Well, my services, I support the manager with not just their well-being, but in terms of induction, work alongside the manager, put the theory to the practice. It's all done remotely, so they've not got somebody else in the home going around spotting stuff or giving an opinion. It's not that at all. It's pure support alongside the person to make sure that they look after themselves while they're looking after everyone else. Also returning from work for long-term absence. I have a 6-week program for that can do a deep dive into what was the problems, what got them to the stage that they were actually ended up being off for such a long time, and how to come back into what they were doing, pick it up, and be able to have some continuity of care without feeling guilty that they've missed something, or depending why they're off, it could be a suspension of bereavement or sickness. And then I also do a one-to-one service, which is just purely for one manager, so that if they've got a manager with particular problems, or they just want somebody there in the background that they can WhatsApp or speak to in an instant, for I'm not there to tell them the job or anything like. It's just pure
Mhm.
support for the person. So that's
Mhm.
mainly mine.
Okay. And now that it's obviously the festive period, have you seen an increase for your importance in the care sector?
Yeah, I've had a few managers phone me last minute, mainly around staffing and staffing levels. worrying that people will go off sick, that COVID's on the increase again, and that flu season's here. And just with the pressures of everything, they can't get to their own families because they feel that, you know, they've got to do the work first. And I'd say to them, your systems and processes will take care of work. You know, you've still got your family, and you know, it's a basic do, ditch, or delegate situation. You know, if you don't have to do everything as a manager, you can delegate and you can ditch some of the jobs. Some of them don't really need to be done. So if you write a list of everything and then decide which category to put it in, it does take the pressure off, you know, and that's one of the main things I talk about to them this time of year.
Exactly. And I'm sure you've heard about, you know, the new law that's affecting the care sector now.
Yeah.
What do you feel can be done to address this, and how it's affecting, you know, the care workers, the managers in the care sector?
Yeah, when you can't have your family around you and it's such a massive distance. I mean, I know we've got things like Zoom, we've got WhatsApp, we can FaceTime. It's not the same as hugging somebody and being in the same room as them and having them with you. I do think that it needs reviewing and changing so that people, you know, can bring families here. They're coming for a reason, and they should be able to carry on being a family member and not expected to leave their own life to go and support other people having lives. They should be able to carry on with that, you know, family time and support from the people they love the most.
Exactly, because I feel like what that would do is maybe increase your workload a lot more, because you know, like imagine somebody coming abroad, they now trying to be the best person that they can be, you know, to help somebody in need. But at the back of their head, they, you know, thinking about their family member back home, whereas this, you know, it can be avoided by them having their family member close to them. So I'm sure that that's going to put a lot of stress on you as somebody in the support system.
Yeah, and I find that one of the managers I spoke to last week, she's not actually got her family with her, and she stays at work more because she doesn't see any point of going home, because she's just, well, I might as well stay at work. And then she's getting really drained and really fried and stressed because, you know, to her there's nothing to go on to, which has really impacted her as a person. You know, it's
Exactly.
And it's very sad to see.
Yeah, because I think it would increase retention, because now you've got somebody that's got their family there. There's no need for them to be, you know,
Definitely.
off long periods of time.
Yeah.
And if something has to happen to a family member, that means now they're going to need to take time off work, travel, and then, you know, in the care sector, then now you need to now put a contingency plan in place to now hire somebody else. That's another cost that you're incurring. So yeah, I feel like that should definitely be reviewed and looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how are you, how do I say, how are you supported in all of this? Do you have somebody to support you?
Well, I have a caring family and I work by myself, so it's just me. And I do a lot of self-care. I do meditations and relaxation. I have strategies and systems in place that keep me from taking too much on, taking, you know, especially the emotional side of it. So I look after myself like that. So I'm quite lucky.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
learned.
Yeah. What advice would you give to owners during this festive period, to help them, you know, retain some of their staff, or, you know, keep them happy, keep their minds calm during this festive period?
Well, one thing they could do is making sure that they have got somebody like Enigma, like say, with them, working alongside them, build up the relationship with yourselves and your staff, and to know just exactly what is available for them. You know, and it's like say, especially at short notice and whatever, it's a free service, so it's excellent, especially with rising costs with even electricity, gas, and things like that. I mean, you know, they're not putting up the fees in the homes to cover these costs. So take it from the recruitment side. You know, if you're not having to pay out on recruitment, well, that's a massive financial burden lifted. And I do think, I mean, I always talk about the well-being of the person, so I do think they need an extra phone call or a visit with a piece of cake, something to say, how are you? How are you really? You know, let's have a look at what we can do. Is there anything really bothering you? And then the other thing is, you know, just relax a bit and just let the manager manage, and the team have a good time, and encourage them to enjoy the time with the residents and the families, and not to be pressured into meeting goals and targets. I know certain ones have to be met, but You know, if we can get that done before Friday, they can have a lovely week off, just chilling around the care home and looking after who they need to look after. They don't need to be meeting these targets next week. They can be sorted before and after. So to just take the pressure off.
Exactly. There was something I saw yesterday. I think you posted something about the pick and mix,
Yeah.
and it has to do with the support of care home managers. I think it was pretty awesome what you posted. Would you like to elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, well, to me, one size doesn't fit all. And when we go to pick a mix, we take what we like. And I used to pick and mix two things because I didn't like many. So that was me. Where some might want two of everything. So see what the individual manager needs as a person, that home needs as a home, the staff team need as a staff team, and tailor things to fit. Get the staff in, get the support in. You know, there's lots of support on Facebook groups, LinkedIn, lots of services out there. And as I say, I know there's the employee assistance line, I know there's HR and occupational health, but to have a person at the end of the phone, to have that person there, whether it be yourselves to speak to somebody like me, there's plenty of coaches and management support on LinkedIn. You know, find what fits that individual service, treat them like individuals, and like I say, pick and mix what they need. If they need, you know, some managers really need extra, you know, attention and nurturing. Some managers are quite business minded. So it's not one size fits all. Basically, it's, you know, see what that person wants and put that jigsaw together for them, and let them move forward in their way, and that will go a long way, to be honest, to see that.
Exactly. And then also, like, to elaborate on that, I also feel like when you are picking your team, right, you as a manager or owner needs to obviously pick somebody that's going to be somebody that fits well with your team, somebody that has the right personality. So that's why, like with us at Enigma, when we, speak to care managers and stuff like that, and we ask them, tell us the type of person that you want. And with us, what we do is we go that extra mile to then source, the best person that would fit that specific, care center and care home. So that's why, we're trying to encourage people. Our services are free. It's free to use. It's not going to cost anything. And we'd be able to then, bring somebody to the team that's fitting and would fit with them. Yeah. And in that way, it will relieve some stress on a manager, and in that, turn would then relieve, stress on you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Just knowing somebody's going to come in and fit in, and like I say, then you get continuity as well because they're a good fit. They want that person back, and that's where a lot of pressure's lifted, because you don't have to keep doing an induction for that member of staff when they show up. You don't have to keep on chasing to see where they're up to. You just know them, and like I say, personality, just their own values and everything fit in, and that's worth so much to any care home manager to have that.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of people that we work with and go through our training, and it's extensive training. I mean, it's hours and hours of training that they go through, and we feel that because they've had that training, they've got all of this. They fit so well in specific environments. So yeah,
not just the knowledge, is it? It's not just if they've done moving and handling, if they've got the food hygiene and infection control. It's not just them, that criteria. It's if it is that person that fits that service. That's
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the rest can be taught, but some things can't be taught. And to have that energy and that sort of connection with a home through yourselves, as you're like that go between fitting that service, that's so invaluable. I mean, they're things that can take years to build up, and to have that sifted out for you. And I'd have loved it in my day as a care home manager. I'd have been straight to you every day.
Exactly, because we sift out people with the right attitude, people that have a nurturing, a caring personality, because anybody can come through and take care of the elderly, or somebody that has special needs that you can get trained for. But having a personality that's somebody that's going to be nurturing, going to be empathetic is super important, which is why at Enigma, what we do is we find the right people to match. We get the idea of the person's personality, we see where they're going to fit. And I think that will definitely help in the long run in terms of retention, like you mentioned.
Oh, definitely, yeah, because once that weight's lifted off, you can see to all the things that need to be seen to, and to do the actual work. I was talking the other day about somebody about doing the 40-60 rule, where plan 40% of your day because 60% will plan itself. So when something like a service like your staffing is sorted, that's massive, and that will give you your free time, your 60% of the day that can plan itself, because that's been taken care of. And just to have that more or less instant backup is incredible. It's such a valuable service. So I just hope that people will, take on just how good it is, or at least take a good look at it and see if it is fit for them. I mean, like I said, one size doesn't fit all, and some things we're not right for, but it's to get that, to actually try it and see, and watch the personalities, watch how they growth, watch how they come in and how they present themselves, and the work ethic. It's so invaluable to anybody, and to be able to have that, just picking up a phone and asking yourselves for that is amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Lastly, I just want to find out from you, is there any advice that you could give to care home owners now, during this festive period? I know we touched on it a bit in the beginning. What advice can you give them to try and make sure that they're giving their staff the support that they can give, like how you supporting them? What support can they give them during this festive period?
To me, like I say, just a phone call sometimes, just the leeway to make decisions that normally they wouldn't be able to make. If they want to change shifts for staff, instead of having everyone on a 12-hour day, perhaps break it down to 3-4 hour shifts, and so everybody does a bit of every shift over Christmas and New Year. Obviously, some people have children, some don't. For staff that's coming, here without their own families, to have that time off to be able to go and actually do things for themselves, and they might not really want to do it, but it is valuable at that time of year to be able to go and spend time how they can, even if it is technology, and to make sure that they can see that they have got the autonomy to do it, and have faith in your managers, and belief, and just let them manage, do the job that they took on, and like I say, just make sure that they're okay. And also, as providers, they need to look after themselves, because it's huge responsibility for them as well. They don't just all go and put feet up at Christmas. They still have to do things. I mean, some people do call in the homes, but that can be an extra pressure. So have a think before you do something that you think is good, because sometimes an MD turning up on Christmas Day might be great, but it might also be awful. So have a little think and check them. Check out the home, make sure that home might like that home might not, and see where it stands. Really, keep with the person and the individuality of it, and just keep the faith, basically, through the season.
Well, that's it from me. Thank you so much, Norma,
You're very welcome
for joining us. We love having you. And I'm definitely sure we're going to have you at our next webinar as well.
I just think the one main thing to me is, no matter what hustle and bustle, and no matter what is going on, it's not what's under the tree that matters, it's who's around it. And to take care of yourself and each other at this time of year is more important than any others. Some people have had bereavements, some people are poorly, carrying on with conditions. It's care sector. Let's get that extra care in, and not only will it help with retention, it'll give a good start and a boost to next year. So I really would just say, take care and enjoy.